Good day, everybody. My name is Michaela Lehner. A very warm welcome again to another edition of my summit, Dare to Be You, discover what really matters to you and start living your dream life. Today, it is my absolute honor to introduce you to Ilona Selke. Ilona is an international best-selling author, lecturer, seminar leader, and owner of the company and CEO of Living from Vision. Over the past 30 plus years, she's been inspiring and teaching people to live from their consciousness and thus give them step-by-step advice and tools how to live a fulfilled and happy life. And that's exactly what I want to talk today with Ilona about, how you can start living your fulfilled life and what tools and tricks she's going to advise us to do. Ilona, thank you so much for taking the time. It's my absolute honor to have you here.
Thank you, Michaela. Thank you very much for taking the time and effort to create a summit and to offer so many people so many tools. It really is a gift to humanity. So I thank you for taking your time and doing all this.
Thank you, Ilona. Well, I must commend you for all the work you've been doing over the past 30 plus years in sharing your wisdom and insight with people all around the globe, literally. Would you mind sharing with us? Because often it's like, yeah, those people, there's people out there who always know exactly what they want to do, but me. And it's so easy for them, but not for me.
Yeah,
So this comparison. So can you maybe share with us how you got on this path of this amazing path of discovering the laws of the universe, having your own company, living literally all around the globe. Right now we're talking to you in Bali. Share with us how you started all that out.
Yes. Yeah, I just came from our retreat center last night to be here in Ubud for you in our home here for the interview, and we hope the internet is good to us today. How I got started. Well, I started with a mom who taught me to follow my heart. I started with a mom who said, do what you love and the money will follow. And not think about a good job and a real decent thing and build your life in a picket fence. And then maybe you have a little bit of extra time left over to do what you love. No. So do what you love means listen to your heart. So from early on, she taught me how to listen to my heart. And that started, and I'm saying this to all of you who have children and who've been taught to work from the top down as parents. Now we know that children have their own will, right? So work with your children and work with yourself in this following manner. Ask your child, what do you really want? And what do you really feel? How does this make you feel? What do you really think about when you think about smoking cigarettes or doing drugs, or is the weather warm or cold? Age-appropriate questions, and just ask them what they actually feel in their heart and soul. We are not accustomed to learn to reflect. In our society, currently especially, we are focusing on external things. We're focusing on that which entertains us, and we are given idols and images to follow. So rarely are we ever directed inwardly to our own source, and let alone to reflect on what we really feel like and what we may really want and what is really important to us. And developing that strength of character can start any time in your life. So how it started for me was when my mother asked me to do that. So when I was 16, I read Hermann Hesse, Siddhartha. I decided to study comparative religion, and I didn't think about how to make money with it. I wanted to become a pastor, maybe, and teach about God. And instead I studied meditation, and then I started teaching meditation courses when I was 20. And I made my money on the side going to university, teaching German at a university. I was studying in the university in America and started teaching at the Berlitz School, the language school. So I just pieced things together that I really loved. I loved teaching. I loved teaching for free. I got some money. It was minimum wage. I got $4.85 for an hour of teaching. That was all. Then I decided I'm going to pray to God and say, God, what is really good for me? What do I need to do? Well, I decided to make a little bit of extra money as a stewardess. So I made some money as flying as a stewardess, but I always kept in mind, I want to study to help people become better in their lives, because early on in my life, and I write this in my book, Dream Big, the Universe is Listening, about how when I was 10, I discovered the secret laws of the universe. Shall I tell you real quickly? That has to do with how I changed my life in the direction where I did. So I discovered at age 10 that I got everything I didn't want. Now, if you've watched The Secret or read the books, it's like you have to tell yourself, this is what I want. Well, I figured out everything I didn't want and said, this is what I don't want, I got. Now, I practiced, I did a little experiment with the universe, and I said, God, for this Christmas, I do not want a bike. And I started early, a couple months before, and I visualized no bike. But I want to ask you, what do you visualize when you say, don't think about a pink elephant? Mm-hmm. Don't think about the pink elephant. Don't. Just don't. I mean, forget the pink elephant. You know, it's not pink. It's not big. It's not an elephant. It's not there. So every time I say that,
This is so powerful, because so often we are saying, I do not want. And then not is not listened, is not heard by the universe.
Exactly. Why? The universe not only doesn't hear it, it's like we keep thinking about the thing we don't want. You first have to create it before you can uncreate it in your mind, right? Mm-hmm. So I am not thirsty brings up the feeling of I want to drink something to drink, and I have something to drink. No, bicycle was bicycle, 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 bicycle. So the universe listened to me and gave me bicycle, bicycle. I thought it belonged together, the no bicycle. So I got the positive and negative sign a little wrong when I was 10, and I figured it out later on when I was older. What we focus on is what we get. And that is true for all our thoughts, the subconscious and the conscious thoughts. Now the iceberg, you know, it has a little tip on the top and the big bottom. The subconscious parts are all the self-doubts, the fears, and the positive beliefs. All of them in our subconscious. So at the very tip is what I say I want, I want. At the bottom is what I truly believe I deserve, what I truly feel I want, including our soul's desire. So our soul is constantly trying to talk to us. Steer this way, steer that way. So one day, to answer your question, I prayed and I said, God, I was no denominational oriented, but God oriented. I just didn't really have a path. You know, I said, dear universe, dear God, listen, I need to know what I really am supposed to do with my gifts. You know, I'm a Gemini. I have a lot of talents. I can draw, I can paint, I can dance, I can speak, I can create, I can be an architect, I can be a designer, I can be a speaker, I can be a writer, I can teach. What do you want me to do? I'm really good at a lot of things. I didn't really think I was good at a lot of things. I had a lot of interests, but I was really interested in those things. And I went on a trip back to Germany to see my family. And on my first part of the airplane flight, I had a guy next to me on the airplane from Baltimore, where I was studying, to New York. And he listened to me and he said, God, you should become a psychologist. I can't always remember the exact sequence. There were 3 people. So the middle one was New York, I always remember. He said, you should become a psychologist. The universe is talking. Thank you. In New York, I get out. I walk around trying to make my way to the right airplane, and an old guy stops me and says, where'd you get that coat? And I'm like, self-knitted, handmade coat I'd made in school while I was still 18, 19, with wool made from carpets, big, thick wool. And I said, oh, sir, I made it myself. You should become a fashion designer, he said. Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, then I go into the next flight, and I talk to the person next to me, a guy, and he said, oh, you should become a journalist. My God. And sure enough, you know, within that year, I was offered a position in studying psychology, and I applied to a design school. What wound up happening is that I also visited another friend who was then becoming my husband, but he was my meditation teacher, and he invited me to see him at a time when him and his wife had broken up. And I met another person who's like talked about psychology and body-centered psychotherapy and how they really were making breakthroughs, and she also was studying massage. So I said, oh, I know what I'm going to do, God. Psychology, not a psychological study, because although I'd been offered this position in Germany, I had found out that I was going to learn statistics for the first 2 years. Not something I cared about. So I signed up for the massage school that focused on psychology, breath work, on internal dimensional discovery of feelings, along with massage. The perfect preparation for psychotherapy. So you see, it started with 3 elements. 1, listen to your heart. 2, follow your dreams and actually do things in accordance with them. And then talk to the universe and ask for guidance. You will be given your guidance when you ask from the bottom of your core, whatever that is, heart, soul. Set up a communication with the higher dimensions and assume, first of all, there is something like that, and then start setting up this resonance. You and this greater force will work together as a team. You no longer are going to be having to do it all alone. You will have higher forces working with you once you learn the secret of the universe. Because, and that's why I called my book, Dream Big. The universe is listening and collaborating. We have help from outside of time-space. So there are lots of little ideas in there on how each of us can get going, irregardless of where you are on this path, beginning or already advanced. Because along the way, even when I did my psychological training, I studied Gestalt therapy and Haikomi. I said, dear God, now I need some more help. Thank you very much. What is the best technique ever that will really make changes in people's lives? And I signed up to come to a conference, listen to Dr. Vern Wolf, to his lecture packed full from the top audience. It's written up in my book, Wisdom of the Dolphins. And he said, dip your cup into the quantum foam of the universe and live the expression of your purpose in life. He said, your focus creates a gravitational pull. And I mean, he was talking quantum physics and consciousness and manifesting. So that's the next time I talked to God and got an answer and was guided in the direction of where then, by the time of 28, I took all those into even further trainings, and I took a quantum leap in my evolution from that moment on, understanding quantum physics and psychology. But all the little steps had prepared me. I'd been teaching meditation for a couple of years already, had been teaching language. So you see, my teaching skills were used. Those are my talents. But then my soul awakened and I did more and more that was totally in alignment with what my soul had come to be here on earth. And that takes time to discover and to express. So Michaela, I'm sorry that was a long answer, but I hope there were lots of in-between tricks and tips in there as well.
And Ilona, absolutely, because I keep hearing that it's kind of like things which are happening to us in life are not in the way, they are on the way. And you so nicely put it as well. It's like that at the end of the day, it's all individual puzzle pieces which will build the bigger thing. But what is required is like really follow your bliss, call it your heart, your interest, and your intuition. And do not try to follow a path which other people give you, kind of like either society, parents, or whomever. You brought up 2 interesting points, and I would like to ask you, a lot of people, including myself, those left brain logic engineers, it's like, how do we tune into intuition? It's kind of like, I mean, every now and then I'm having this feeling here deep down in my belly, but I'm like, is that really intuition, or
which voice is it? Yeah.
Yeah. What is that talking to me? So how do I tune into this, and how do I become more sensitive for that?
Yes, very, very beautiful question, how to. And what you're addressing is presupposing there is such a thing as intuition. And the Western world has cut us short. In universities, we learn left brain knowledge. In all schools, in all trainings. Intuition usually is suppressed and eliminated at age 7. Quit daydreaming. Quit fantasizing. Don't live in the dream castles. Except watch Hollywood movies, right? But that's just entertainment. What we need to realize is that we are endowed with the left and the right brain and the limbic brain and the emotional mammalian part of ourselves. And when we combine all of those, we start activating a vibratory presence where another dimension can come through. And actually, penetrate informations from another dimension into this dimension. But it requires that we balance our brain halves, first of all. And what we do with the left brain is the logical thinking. That's what we're very good at in the Western world. I live in Asia. I see what people do here with their right brain. Artistry, dance, poetry, music, rhythm, meditation, conceptualization of interdimensional experiences, talking with the spirits, seeing at a distance, knowing things in advance, outside of time, space. All that comes from the right brain. Combine the two and you have a very acute perception, and you can break through into, when we actually have tons of studies have been done on brain activities, when we bring our brain into whole brain balance, and you can actually buy machines to help you do that. There's this company called BrainTap. I would love to just give you a link to it, but anyways, they sell these flickering lights and they train your brain to go into synchronization and go into lower brainwave states to a relaxation state. And that's when our brain is like a clear lake. And that's when intuition can come as information from another dimension. Now, you said that feeling, or for some people, it's a vision. Some more people, other people get a voice. Now, intuition is a way of knowing without knowing exactly how I got there. It's from somewhere else. Like when I practiced my intuition cooking rice, and I mentioned it not too long ago in another summit, is I would start the rice to boil, and then you set it for 40 minutes on the clock, right? To finish boiling. It's almost predictably the exact time. So then I actually trained myself to know when the rice was done before the clock would ring, and the rice would talk to me. You know, there is in Germany we have Frau Holle. I think in English, it's the one where the girl gets lots of gold put on her because she was so busy shaking out and picking up the apples, and the other one gets tar on her because she was lazy, never listening to the inner voice, which said, the apple said, please pick me now. Or the bread was calling from the oven, please take me out now, I'm almost ready to burn. The girl who got the gold was the girl who listened to that inner little voice. She heard the apples calling. I heard the rice calling. I'm done. Pick me up. I might burn right now. And I would go and pick up the rice, and sure enough, it was done right then. So we can train this inner voice. For me, it was a feeling of a message. But at times I get it in terms of sound. Some people, and I usually get a mixture, but some people just get it as a feeling or as a knowing or a sudden insight. I also trained myself to go and call people, not the moment I wanted to call, but I simply didn't, and suppressed that urge until I just picked up the phone. In those days, you know, pick up. And invariably, the people I wanted to call had walked just right into the house. It was the days before cell phones, when you had to wait for them to be home. Days, you know, I mean, even before we had answering machines, when you had to like catch people when they got home. So it was a good time to practice intuition. But the point I want you to take home is, and you, Michaela, you asked a beautiful question. How do we, on the one side, overcome the feeling of doubt? And now I'm going to address that one, but how to develop intuition. Intuition is a way of knowing that comes from another dimension. We have to calm our consciousness. We have to be regularly quiet. We regularly have to learn to tune into another level of our mind, which is feeling and vibratory. It's not the thoughts. That's why in meditation and in all the Eastern teachings, they teach us to quiet our mind. Mm-hmm. And that's when you can start listening. Now, I teach people to ascend when we've balanced our brain halves, to go into gamma brain wave activity, to go beyond time-space. But that's another story. And in the beginning, suffice to know that you need to calm yourself down, which is, let me tell people they can get my free gift, which helps people do that. Start training your intuition by going every morning and every evening, just for 10 minutes, into your inner silence. And then you can use your imagination to pre-create an inner place of peace, talk to your inner heart, what is really important to me. And by doing so, you start learning to become the witness part who's watching your life. And that makes the choices. And that's how you train your intuition. And also that's where you start creating the power to create and co-create in your life.
One question on that, on this training and quieting your mind to learn to listen and tune in into your intuition. Would you kind of like place there already a question, or do you really try to kind of like literally empty your brain of any thoughts, and ask some teachers kind of like, okay, try to be behind your eyes and watch your thoughts passing by, and don't grab them but just watch them? So what explicitly do you mean by quieting down?
Yes, very good question. The app that I'm going to give everybody for free, for the link that's in here in your email as well as below here, is the app where you just are guided through guided meditation to use your imagination to calm yourself down. If I ask you to go into your inner place of peace and I guide you gently through that and into that, your mind will automatically slow down because we visualize in the alpha brainwave frequency. We don't do it in beta. Beta is it's between 14 and 22 hertz, right? That's where we're right now. If I were to say, close your eyes and take a deep breath and just make yourself comfortable wherever you are right now. And I gently would walk you into your own creation of your own place of peace. I don't have to tell you what it is. You then go into your place of peace. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to do one more exercise in a minute that will help you to become that witness part. I am occupying your mind, but ever so slowly, that eventually there will be moments of total quiet where your inner voice, your inner wisdom, your heart's wisdom, your soul's energy can come through. And that's where you can meet with your innermost interdimensional consciousness. When people say just don't have any thoughts, it's like the don't think about a pink elephant. It's very difficult not to have thoughts, seriously. But I find for a beginner, it's virtually impossible. I have zillions of people who say I can't meditate, and I'll say, watch, you can do it. And I guide them, and just the pauses get ever longer, and then suddenly they break through into inner luminosity they've never seen before. It's because we need a little guidance to direct our thoughts, to become ever quieter, and then ascend to a place that we aren't taught about in school. So the first trick I would suggest is use your mind to focus on something that calms your mind down, and that'll give access. So you don't have to not think about the pink elephant, but I'm going to give you an observation technique right now, which is how, let's say you have some self-doubt, right? Or some anger. You can just say, even in the evening, if you do this technique, in retrospect, you go, oh God, I blew it, I had fear, I had anxiety, I was angry, whatever it was. You say 3 magical words, actually it's 4, but easy to remember, called stop, look, choose. It goes like this. Imagine you're sitting watching a roller coaster movie, imagine sitting in a roller coaster, right? There it goes up, the ride goes up, oh my God. And then, oh my God, it goes down. And you go like, oh my God, can you imagine being on a roller coaster? You're right, going down, oh my God, we're going upside down, oh no. And now I'm going to ask you to stop. And remember, you're just watching a movie. It's not you on that roller coaster. It's you just watching the roller coaster. Just step back, stop. It's a movie, stop. And you look at your life and go, oh, just a movie, let's see. All right, here I am. There I am, anxious, have anxiety, fear, whatever. Okay, there's my fear. Here's my anxiety. You step back, you watch that movie, the roller coaster. You watch your fear, anxiety, and go, oh, okay, that's a feeling there, I can see it. You virtually kind of take it out and look at, oh, I see. Like compassionately. And then you go and look. You stop first, you look at it, and then you say, what do I really want? And you ask in a longer version, in my courses that I teach, Living from Vision, the online course teaching people how to become the powerful master creator in their lives, we take a look at the problems and we dialogue with them. Remember Dr. Vern Wolf, who was saying, dip your cup into quantum foam? That's his technique. built on that. And holodynamics is one of his books, describes its technique. I write it up in all my books, describing it. I even have a children's book called Alan Learns to Use His Imagination. We look at the negative and we ask, what do you really want? If you could have what you really wanted, what would that be? And the doubt will probably say, well, I'd be strong. The fear would probably equally say, I'd be powerful. The feeling unloved would say, I would be loved. It's always like the other side of the coin that we're asking, what do you really want? It wants usually the opposite from what it's doing. And you go, oh, I get it. You want to be free, powerful, have strength, be loved, be loving. You go, and this is the fourth word I didn't mention, but it's stop, look, choose. I want to be powerful, feel loved, have strength. You go into the future of where that would have already happened. Mm-hmm. You go, what would that feel like if I already had it? In the longer process, you do need to dialogue with the negative emotion and say, well, what is it been doing? What have you been doing? What's going on? When did you first learn this? Because we practice this behavior from way on early, sometimes from past lives. And it's like, oh, okay, we got it, we understand. And then you go, what you really want is this. And then we're going to do what quantum physics teaches us, catapults us into the new reality. We take the one and the other, which is the old and the new, and merge them into singularity, and it puts us into the new dimension. It creates a hyperdimensional jump. And by addressing the old and absorbing it into the new, not getting rid of it, not eliminating it, but absorbing it into the new, I've helped thousands of people around the planet from all walks of life, rich or poor, from black to white to orange to pink, to create hyperdimensional jumps in their emotional body and walk themselves into the expression of their future self into the now.
I totally get you, Ilona, on this stop, look and choose.
And then the fourth one was
is literally, hey, catch yourself kind of like you are just kind of like in the movie. Yeah, so get outside, take an observer's perspective, see what is going on, and choose wisely what you want. But where I'm totally missing you, and maybe the audience as well, and I would like you to address it a little bit closer, is like, if I'm choosing and I'm visualizing my future picture, like for instance, I want to have my bungalow overviewing the ocean. Yeah?
Yes.
So how do I merge that now? I mean, I learned kind of like, and you addressed it as well, that the universe's language is literally emotions and pictures. But how do I now just choosing the bungalow, and how do I get that kind of like materialized as soon as possible?
Okay, well, for example, you take the fuel, which is your fear of it not being there, or the anger or the doubt, whatever it is, and say, thank you very much for wanting something so beautiful. And you say, do you want that? And it'll tell you yes. If not, you have to go a level deeper, but just eventually it will say yes. And you say, okay, would you like to become that now? And you let the new absorb the old completely into itself and say, that's what you want. And you do a time jump, irregardless of the circumstances around you right now. And what you'll have left over is like, I'm at the beautiful freedom space of being at the ocean, being in the bungalow, overlooking the ocean, or a house, or whatever you want. I have, $1 million. I am, or $10 million, or I am luminous. I'm enlightened. I'm loving. I'm this or that, or I have this and that, or I can do this or that. Whatever. Do, be, or have. And by preoccupying the emotional state of the future with the fuel from that which didn't work, now realized or released, illuminated into that which it wanted to become, you have a new radio station in your subconscious. And it works in that bottom part of that big pyramid, of that iceberg, radiating into your world this new energy. And guess what will happen when you radiate that into the world? Your anger has been addressed, your feelings, your fear, your doubt. And it's now going, that's what I really want. Now it gives its energy into this matrix. The universe will take care of the fastest way possible. What you need to do is address the parts of you that are willing to have it as soon as you're capable of accepting. I asked myself when I was at that very question that you just asked, how soon could I tolerate something to show up? Because somewhere in my mind, it has to feel congruent. If let's say I want to live in $1 million bungalow, and I go, this is what I want, and somebody walks in right now and says, hey girl, you can come over and live in $1 million bungalow, would I be emotionally capable of handling that? Maybe I would say, well, something's wrong, I can't believe it. Maybe I need a day. Maybe I need some other feeling. You know, I practiced. I said, can I manifest a flower right now in front of the audience? And I have it on camera. I was at a conference, the Prophets Conference. I had 700 people in the audience that morning, and I said, I can do it. And I said, I'm going to do it. I don't care how many people are going to like kiss my feet afterwards. I'm done with that. It's okay. Because the part of me that didn't want to do it was the part that didn't want 700 people or 1,000 or 1,000,000 people kissing my feet. I wasn't interested in having kissed feet. So it's like doing too many things publicly are not, you know, don't give much privacy. So, but this day I did it. I said, I'm going to do it. And I on the stage said, I'm going to manifest a flower. And I did like this, hocus pocus, you know, and pulled out a flower right in front of the audience. It's a pink ginger flower with a stem. And I'm like, oh my God. And you know, the first thought I had was, how did that happen? Not like, of course, we get a flower now. I mean, naturally. No, it was so shocking. I'm like going, how? And I said on camera, I'm better than I thought. Because some part of me really didn't believe, really, I could do it. Although I had felt this, yes, I can do this feeling inside of me. I practiced this in my meditation until I felt this certainty. I had inadvertently behind my screen, you know, when I was doing that, there were flowers behind me. I had caught my hand perfectly in one of the flowers magically. And it was in keeping with my belief as how fast I could tolerate a miracle. I got what I wanted in a way that I thought was explicable to everybody. So my fear of having people kiss my feet was addressed. No, it just happened, you know, lucky strike. But I got what I wanted. And it showed me that the subconscious, I mean, I knew that the subconscious determines the speed. Your speed at which you're capable and comfortable allowing miracles into your life is the speed at which things will show up.
That's an interesting statement, but it makes total sense, because sometimes you also hear from those people who win the lottery. They want to have like millions, and they eventually won it, and 2 years afterwards they lost everything. Why?
Yeah.
Because they haven't adjusted the money mindset, and that's sometimes why it's taking a while, because you need to come to the level of acceptance, or even like of earning and of dealing with the responsibility out of a sudden as well have. Yeah, so very beautifully put. So even though this flower example is quite an interesting one, but what it states to me is kind of like that the universe arranges itself, and they just have
at the best
flowers, and you grab them. So,
well, let's just say the one question that really is underneath of all that: do I really need it now? I believe that whatever you really need right now, and you say, universe, I need it now, will happen now. But you have to be certainly convinced.
And
you know,
you're touching on a very good point, Ilona. How do we really get clear on this is what we want? Because often we think, once I'm having the money, then I'm happy. Once I'm having the bungalow, then I'm happy. But it's sometimes not the money. It's actually we are striving for something else. So how do we get the layer of the onion off to get the clarity what we really want?
I love your questions. I love what you just said. Yes. Let me give you a little example. Is also the answer will be, how do we manifest more effectively, more quickly, more easily? On one hand, we have goals where we think, when I have this, I will be happy. So what is our fundamental drive? To realize I want love and happiness. I want to feel illuminated. Bar none, people feel the most alive when you can read this up, happiness comes to you when you're in touch with your core center of who you truly are, connected to a higher source, a sense of a greater whole. Now, for some people that may be God, for some people that may be a specific type of religion's God experience, for some people that may be even just a big scientific community. You strive beyond yourself to a greater expression of yourself. Step number 2. So being in touch with yourself, growing beyond your limits, and happiness will flow. And being, the third step, being in a what they call the flow state, a state where you are so absorbed in that beingness that that's all you have within you. You are in the being of that which you want to do. So now I'll give you an example of how to manifest more effectively and quickly and make sure you get the happiness that you desire at the end. When choosing a goal, like I had this filmmaker in Germany, Wiesbaden actually, he taught his first class. He'd come to my teacher coach training, gone through it and decided, this is it, I'm going to teach this. Taught his first class. To be an effective teacher, he wanted to prove it to his class. He said, I want to manifest a particular Audi without a roof on a cabriolet. And he visualized the color, I think blue. And 3 weeks, he does the exercises every morning, every evening. He goes through the class with an app and all that. But that time they had cassettes. That was in the olden days, in the 90s. Then we went to CDs, now we have apps. And he visualized not having the car, not opening it, not turning the key, not nothing. He visualized being in the car, driving it, feeling the hair blowing back from the wind. And when he was done, he was feeling the freedom. And that's what he visualized, is a dove that was flying in the freedom that he wanted as a feeling of driving that car. What he wanted was that feeling that he imagined he would have if he were a dove flying in the sunlight. Now, when you give the universe the end result, the feeling of what you really want, the universe will collaborate to give you that which fits that and gives you that. And second of all, you already have your fulfillment within you. You already have the fulfillment within your heart and soul. You don't need anything else. That means you don't need the car to bring you the happiness to feel like a freedom bird. You are the feeling of freedom bird now. The universe now likes that and says, already there. Now, of course, he has to have that car because that goes with him. That's what he visualized. And it could have been a Mercedes for all I care, but he, after week 3, got a call and they said, this is in Germany, Lotto and Toto, we wanted to let you know you won an Audi, a car brand like Volkswagen, Audi Cabriolet. What color is it? He said, oh, it's red. Oh no, I wanted a blue one. So he got a red one and he made us come to Wiesbaden and drive with him in the car to make sure we saw his end result.
Wow.
So what you had said is, people want the car to get the beauty of happiness. That what he did is he created the happiness and the feeling of freedom first to then create the car. So he had the feeling of it, and no matter what, the universe would have supplied that which would fulfill his desire. He wanted the transportation, he wanted the freedom, the feeling, but he had it within himself. The matrix of fulfillment resided in his heart and was independent of having whatever he thought externally would bring him that happiness.
Beautiful. That just wraps it up so nicely. What you're also teaching is kind of like living from within. So
living from vision, from within, work from the inside out. Yep.
Kind of like, don't try to find the happiness on outside objects. You deep down already know what you actually want, how you want to feel. So just nurture that feeling, and literally things you really need and want will materialize. Ilona, I can't believe our time is actually coming up. I still want you to speak a little bit. It's so interesting talking to you. I could go on for hours here. But I would like you to kind of like tell our audience about your Living from Vision, because it's like a 5-week course and you're giving them a very special gift, like a discount on this vision work if they want to embark on that journey and potentially having very, very quick results with that course. So please explain our audience what it's all about.
Yes, I've been teaching this Living from Vision course for 30 years. So what you get, what people want to learn, and I suppose you want to learn as well, most likely is how to create an even better life. So wherever you are, from bad to good to already super, we've taught with this Living from Vision material course how to create from the inside out, how to shift into the new matrix, the new paradigm of being a human and creating from the blueprint of consciousness into matter. So the Living from Vision course goes over 5 weeks and practices different segments and aspects that all together make that recipe, with weekly sessions, about 3 hours that you work through online, and daily sessions, 10 minutes in the morning, 12 minutes in the morning, 12 minutes in the evening. And that really established the habits. And each week we have a different focus, and each week the apps change in accordance with what you learn. And you learn how to create, how to deal with problems, how to deal with negative emotions, how to get in touch with the higher dimensions of yourself, your purpose in life, deeper values, and how to figure out in which parts of creation you're good and where you need extra strengthening. And in these 5 weeks, which normally cost $345, I'm going to give people on the summit a 30% discount. It's a $103 discount. And I'll do that. I will give you a link, Michaela, that includes a discount. So all they have to do is click the button, and it's already deducted. They'll show the price and then the discount. And I've calculated it at 30%. So I think we'll do that. And then people can have this course forever. So they can do it. The people who do the best in life are people who stay with it and stay with the practice year after year and grow to a new level of themselves. So I'm still doing it 30 years later. Of course, things come quickly now. Fast. That I took maybe a longer time in the beginning. I really urge you to read my book, Dream Big. The universe is listening, to get an idea of many of the techniques I spoke about today, and more are elaborated in the book. And the course, Living from Vision, and I'm only going to do this here on this link right now. So if you want to grab a 30% discount, do it. The course is yours. As long as you want to have it, you can take as long as you want. So it's a 5-week course, but if you take 10 weeks, it's fine. If you only want to do an hour and a half every Sunday, fine. But then redoing it, you can keep doing it. And all the people who've written me over decades say they redo the course and they redo it. And as we grow, we change the platform to more and more beautiful ones. So right now we have beautiful colors, easy to follow. Click, you're done. It's easy to work through, and videos and audios all combined, and teach you how to step-by-step create the master life of your dream. The dream of your master life. The manifest version of you. And the link is in your email as well as under here, I understand, right? Under this video.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Lovely, Ilona. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Closing off, is there, besides all the gold nuggets you've given us already of like tuning into our into our center, quieting down the mind to materialize, is there anything which you would like to advise on daring to be ourselves?
Well, really, it's a Christian saying out of the Bible. It says, seek the kingdom of God first and all else will be added unto you. What I would say in modern language is discover the deep truth of who you are. Connect to a higher source one way or the other, whichever way you do, and start that dialogue. Dream big, and that's a way of connecting with a higher source. Create your dream life, because it'll be the stepping stones towards a greater you, a you that is connected to ever more the center of the universe.
I love that. I love that as a closing, because it's kind of like, it's all about, don't limit yourself what you think it's possible. Dream big, and you can even achieve bigger things. It's out there. You just need to dare to grab it.
Well, you can live it. Yes, it's step by step by step. Yes. Thank you very much, Michaela.
Lovely. Well, Ilona, thank you so much for your time. It was such a lovely dialogue with you. It's amazing. And to our audience, please make use of the generous gift Ilona provided here. And as well, I hope you took a lot of notes throughout our dialogue. If not, please revisit the interview, because there's a lot of hidden gold nuggets in there for you, which can help you to finally achieve the dream life you always longed for. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and thank you so much for your time. And as well to you, Ilona, all the best. Thank you so much.
Namaste, Michaela.